my geeky ohana, Eddie here. Let's talk locations for Season 2 of The Wheel of Time. In this video, I'll be covering all the locations we currently know of for the second season. For those of you who don't want to wait for my timeline videos, I'll do my best to speculate which episodes each location might appear in, but please keep in mind that I'm just guessing. So, take them with a grain of salt. There are other locations that I haven't listed here, either because I don't know about them or couldn't verify that they're probably for The Wheel of Time. So please don't consider this an exhaustive list of every place we'll see in Season 2. Also, sometimes scenes end up on the cutting room floor. Only time will tell if all of these locations make it to the final show. One more thing. I'm going to do my best to pronounce the names of these places, but I'll probably still fail. Please be kind. Before we move ahead, I want to issue a spoiler warning. I know personally my first watch of Season 1 was affected a little because I already knew so much about the filming. But definitely distracted me, which is partially why I'm happy that we don't seem to know as much for Season 2. So, if you think that being able to recognize all of these places as real-world places will take away from your immersion of Season 2, I recommend you skip this video. I wanted to shout out Sarah, Omar, and Lane at Watt Series and John at Watt Up for helping to identify the locations in this video. With that said, let's get into the filming locations for Season 2 of The Wheel of Time. The first location I want to note is that of Jordan Studios. This is a studio created for the production of The Wheel of Time. There are multiple indoor sound stages as well as a backlot that was used for Shadar Logoth and the Streets of Tar-Valon in Season 1. Assuming the sets for parts of the White Tower are in Jordan Studios, we know that those sets will be used for sure in at least Episode 2. For the rest, we can only guess, but they probably have sets built in here for each episode. The second location is the Fortress Castrani, which was first reported to John at Watt Up. Crew were spotted there as early as July, and in a January 2022 article with the owner of the fortress, it was stated that film crew moved around the fortress until recently. So it's very likely this location might show up across multiple episodes. The third location might look familiar. It's a quarry in Serbsko that was used for the Leandrin scenes in Season 1, Episode 1. We're not sure how the location will be utilized for Season 2, but it's likely to have been used for scenes in Episode 1 and or 2. The fourth location is the Star Palace, also likely to show up in Episode 1 and or 2. Drone filming was completed at this location on one day in August 2021. We don't know if filming was focused on the building itself or on the surrounding grounds. The next location is a place I'm just going to dub as a river village. Likely to show up in Episode 1 and or 2, this set built alongside a body of water is composed of several ramshackle buildings, what looks like a small field for crops, and a water wheel. Next is a studio at Treboredice. This studio was used for the Hall of the Tower set in Season 1, however, we don't know if this is still the case for Season 2. They may have built a different set in the space that they used for the second season. Our next location is the backlot at Barrandov Studios. Various parts of the backlot were used at various times during Season 2 filming, so it's very possible that parts of the backlot will show up across the whole season. Let's take a closer look at this location. Here's a look at the development of the set on the backlot. In April 2021, they started building more of the outer wall as seen on the right. Also in April 2021, construction on what I'll dub the outer town began. You can see what looks like bamboo piled up in front waiting to be used. In May of 2021, the old smooth turrets were removed from above the gate and the wall. Near the end of May, the outer town looks pretty much completed. The turrets and the wall are still gone. However, there's enough of the set completed at this point that when we compare it with this photo Yosha posted in February of 2022, we can see that it's the same place. Here's a better look at the outer town. You can see the more Asian-style turrets in the background of the picture on the right. Here are more photos of the town outside the gate. And one more photo, plus a video. I love the care and detail taken with this set. It's quite expansive. In the background here, you can see the new wall they started building in 2021, along with turrets that match the new ones over the gate. This is the area right outside the gate. You can see that it looks like many of the buildings actually have what looks like trees coming out of their roofs. Here's one more view of some details. Here we have the gates, and through these gates is the town interior. The set is actually more vast than pictured here, but here's some of the new look of the interior while it was still being built. Here it is with a more polished look, complete with added details to the house and storefronts. Going back in time a bit, here's the same buildings from another angle. And here's my favorite little detail. This sign has a woman's face on its front, and her back on its reverse. Finally, I'm not sure where exactly this detail is located, but I thought it was interesting. Are these supposed to be straw trollops? Next, let's head to Italy. Based off of which directors and directors of photography were on location there, they likely filmed parts of both Block 1 and 2 in Italy, but we don't know exactly which locations will end up in which episodes. The first location is Masseria lo Spagnuolo, a 17th century farm comprised of several buildings, including a tower, a church, private houses, a stable, and an ancient oil mill. The area is surrounded by olive trees, just like the olive trees seen in this very first still from the Season 2 route trailer. Let's compare that still to a picture of the olive trees from a road near Masseria lo Spagnuolo. In the teaser, we turn from an ocean view to face the mountains. If we compare this blurry moment from that same teaser to the same road near Masseria lo Spagnuolo, you'll see that even though this is obviously not the exact spot, the mountains are the same. The second location is Masseria Borzone, another masseria in the Ostuni area. Next is Calanci di Aliano, which is home to a spectacular landscape of wind and water-carved clay. And finally, Gravina di Genosa. The historical part of Genosa sits atop a hill flanked by a ravine, with buildings that look carved out of the surrounding rock. Heading back to the Czech Republic, this area in Vinaritsa has two quarries next to each other. My best guess is that they were used for the first half of the season. We've got Panska Skala, likely for episodes 3 and/or 4. Again, for the same episodes, 3 or 4, is the forest near Kravlu Stolec in Doksy. The next location was utilized by the production for 2 months, from October until December. It's a large region near Nizhbol, which seems to consist mainly of tree-covered hills. We don't know exactly when they filmed here, but this area is likely to show up in one or more of the episodes from 3 to 6. The next location is Castle Jindřichův Hradec. The castle is the third largest conservation complex in the Czech Republic and covers nearly 3 hectares. There were 25 days of preparation and 5 days of filming, and the areas that were utilized by the production are the rondel and the courtyard fronting it, the first courtyard, the third courtyard, the green rooms on the first floor of Adam's building, the black kitchen and the area in front of it, the premises of the 2 halls in the Spanish wing, and the area in front of the granary. Next up, we have Panska Skala, or Mansion Rock. This is a basalt rock formation jutting out of the ground next to a small lake. Filming was done here in early November, so I'm guessing we can expect to see these scenes in episode 5 or 6. And finally, the last known location in the Czech Republic is Chateau Karlova Koruna, a Baroque chateau in the town of Chlumec nad Cidlinou. We know that they filmed in the marble hall of the chateau, which you can see on screen here. Filming was done in early February, and I'm guessing this might be for episode 7 or 8. After wrapping in the Czech Republic, filming headed over to Morocco for 2 months, across at least 3 different cities. In Ouarzazate, CLA Studios was utilized by the Wheel of Time. Specifically, we know that the Jerusalem set was used. Located a few kilometers away from CLA Studios and built over an area of 5 hectares, the set is impressive, with 5 courtyards and 30 hectares of open land surrounding it, ideal for battle scenes. We believe this set is being utilized as the city of Vopna. As far as which episodes it will appear in, since the 2 directors we know were in Morocco cover 75% of the season between them, it's hard to predict which episodes we'll see Vopna in. Another location about 12 kilometers south of the Ouargezat region is that of Fint Oasis. Filming at this location took place over multiple days. Extras and horses were spotted on set. This may also be a location for a waygate, but that's just speculation right now. Another location nearby is one we were shown in the Season 2 wrap teaser. Of note in the scene is what appears to be a throne of some sort with a 7-spoked wheel on the back, and also a giant 7-spoked wheel that looks to have had a person strapped to it at one point. For lots of theories on what this might be sure to check out the Dusty Wheels coverage of the Season 2 wrap video. I've included a link below. The last known location near Ouargezat is near Lake El Mansour, though we don't know what sort of scenes were filmed in this area. The next location in Morocco is the coastal city of Essaouira, specifically at the Skala Medina. Set designers added fake walls and also turned the area into a marketplace. Finally, the last filming location in Morocco is that of Dakhla, a small peninsula with a whole lot of sand and beach. Specifically, we know that one beach used was home to a waygate in the ocean. Another beach used in Dakhla was Puerto Rico Beach. The 2 beaches have a slightly different look, so it's possible they might be standing in for 2 different locations in the Wheel of Time world. However, we won't know until the 2nd season is released. So that's it for locations. Next up, I've got major crew. I also plan to do at least one updated cast video before I get into the filming timeline. In the meantime, don't forget to catch all of the latest from WatchSeries.com. Follow us on Twitter or Instagram, or email us with any information at tips@watchseries.com. See you next time. Until then, thanks for watching.